Cool, thanks a lot. So I'm here to talk about how Ethfinex or any other project could use Aragon for governance. And I'm going to do a demo and also like a little bit of like not coding, but close to coding to demonstrate where the abilities of the DAO development toolkit that we have created. So to start, Aragon is a project to empower freedom by creating tools for decentralized governance. So Aragon is not a company or a team, it is a project, it is a community composed by many people and teams. There are currently 2 teams working on Aragon right now. I'm not really the CEO of Aragon as I was introduced. I'm the CEO of Aragon 1, which is one of the teams working on Aragon, but there's also the Aragon DAC, which was announced like, I think 2 months ago. And Griff is here from the DAC. And so amazing people. Yeah, I'm gonna do a demo. So I'm gonna demo Aragon and also a DAO that I just created for Ethfinex. So we can just start with Aragon per se. So the Aragon interface is something like this, as you see here. You can go try it out yourself at app.aragon.org. And an Aragon app has one component that is very important, which is this sidebar here with the apps. So Aragon is a platform for apps, so you can create different kinds of apps. And here we have some basic apps, such as a token manager, a voting app, which is like a simple democracy app, super simple voting, and then like a finance app, which, as you can see here, the finance app has finances of the DAO. So you can see here, I have some DNT tokens. This DAO is very sad because it doesn't have any ANT or BitConnect. But it has some other nice tokens that we can interact with, and we will see all the finances here at the DAO. And if you make any transaction, you see it here in the finance app, so everything is transparent by default. And then you have stuff like the token manager, which basically lets you give tokens to different entities. And how everything is connected is using permissions. So what is a DAO if not a graph of who has access to what, right? That's an organization. The CEO can withdraw funds, the employees can contribute to a repo, stuff like that. So the idea is that we have a very rich permission system that we have created, which is super generic. So if you're familiar with an operating system, you know that a normal user cannot do anything apart from like anything like changing the actual system. You have to like go as root or as admin of the system. That's a very basic permissionless collection system. You just have like either a little bit of power or you have like all powers and you are God. Here we build something that is more granular. And so basically each app, so let's think about the voting app. Each app may have different permissions that do different things. So for example, this app that we have here is the voting app. And this voting app, if we go to this smart contract, we will see that it has 2 capabilities. So it can create new votes. So the app allows for you to create new votes and then people can vote after you create it. And it has another one which is modify the quorum, so modify the parameters of the vote itself. And the cool thing about Aragon is that you can expose these permissions so other apps can consume them. So, for example, you can say that any token manager can create a new vote. And so, if we go to the token manager here, token manager, we will see that there is a relationship between like the token manager app and the voting app. So in this case, token manager app exposes some permissions, such as, for example, assign tokens to someone, so minting new tokens. Or, for example, vesting, if you have like some vesting and those tokens are gradually released. And you can set that the voting app is the only one allowed to perform that action. And so what happens here is each time you want to actually mint a new token, the user will say, hey, you cannot do this, but you can open a voting. So let's try it out. Let's go to the token manager, and let's try to create a new token. And we're gonna give it to myself because I really like tokens. So this is gonna be myself, and I'm gonna give me 2 tokens. And then I click here, and what is gonna happen is that a voting is gonna be opened. And so in this case, as I was the only one in the DAO basically, the voting is automatically approved, and so I receive more tokens. In this case, I think I was interacting with the finance app and I was making a transaction. So for example, let's say I want to withdraw 1 token, so I'm just gonna try to transfer 1 token, and I'm gonna say for the reference that is for Lambos. I wanna buy a Lambo. Just try to do this. And then if the gods of the blockchain work, because I think my connection is pretty bad, I'm gonna try to change network or something. Let's see. Yes, I'm going to finance, return transfer, one, Lambo. Submit transfer. And then what we have here is something very interesting. The user or the developer of this app, the finance app, doesn't have to even think about governance or what governance is going to be on front of their app. So instead of hard coding a governance mechanisms for finance, what the developer can do is the developer can say, my finance app exposes a functionality which is to withdraw tokens from the DAO. And then, due to the permissions of this app, which you can think of as the bylaws of the organization, of how the organization works, the user has been prompted to say, hey, you don't have permission to do this directly, but you have permission as a token holder to open a voting. And the voting app has permission to withdraw funds from the DAO. So therefore, this is a path you may take to signal your intent of withdrawing funds. And so therefore, if I click here and I sign a transaction, a new voting will be opened. And then, if the DAO decides to do so, the funds will be withdrawn. So here you can see, as I'm the only person in the DAO, the funds were automatically extracted, and I got a new Lambo. Yoo-hoo. So, jumping into how, people or organizations like Ethfinex could use this. I think this is very powerful for protocols, because basically you can create an app like this, which I just coded in like half an hour, so don't judge me. It's a very simple app. Actually, the contours of the project are kind of fucked up colors, so there should be more colors in there. But basically, this app is an app that has some permissions, so we can go check them out. But basically, these permissions, what they enable is this Nectar token app to expose a function that is called change issuance rate. So you may have some parameter, which is like a trading volume, and the unit of trading volume, which can be anything that Ethfinex community considers one trading volume. One unit of trading volume may be to trade the equivalent of one Bitcoin in whatever crypto it is, according to an oracle or whatever other mechanism. And what you can do here is, by creating this app as a developer, I don't have to care about permissions of the governance mechanism. I just have to say my app exposes this functionality, which is changing the Nectar issuance rate. That's what my app does, which in smart contracts will be really easy. Would be just having this Aragon app here, which basically has a role called change issuance role. And then there is the function that changes the issuance in the contract, and I just say, with this modifier, only people with this role here can perform this action. And so I abstract over the one mechanism do they have to go through to actually have that permission, have that role. That may be a voting, and then maybe whatever. And then that's it. Like then I can use like wire permissions in a way that, for example, the only entity or the only other app that can call this is a voting app. And then I can give permission to a token manager, so token holders, to cast votes on the voting app. And therefore, I have a system in which the issuance changes usually with governance or decentralized voting in a purely democratic way. Or I may just get tired of democracy and be like, I want to try Foodarchy out. And then you just don't have to really do anything. You just have to swap out the simple voting app, put your Foodarchy app in there, change the permissions, which, by the way, the permissions can be changed themselves by doing a voting or other governance mechanisms. So you may say, the only entity that can change this permission of how, for example, what is the other entity that can update this parameter, that can be like a governance process itself. So you can have a voting for upgrading the governance mechanism itself, which is pretty amazing. So this was an app that I literally coded in no time. The front end is upgradable, and also the smart contracts here. So if you say your contract is an Aragon app, it is automatically upgradable, and you can just go to the terminal and just run like what would be Aragon APM publish and publish a new version to the blockchain. And then also the front end is stored on IPFS. So this front end that you see here, if you look to the URL, actually, you will see that it's in aragonpm.com, which is a gateway that we have to aragonpm.eth, which is a purely decentralized package manager we built. and this package manager can be community governed, because obviously what is the point of having a decentralized application if it's hosted on a server, right? So that's very important, and we give all that for free to developers. So when you create your Aragon app, you get this amazing UI toolkit you see here, which is used to like create all the buttons, all the lists, all of that. And when you create this Aragon app, it runs inside, this what we call Aragon Core, which is this sidebar on the left that lets you like launch apps, just like an operating system lets you do that. And then you get a great ability at the front end and smart contracts for free, plus governance and interoperability, because you can link your apps with other apps using permissions. And we're also building an app center in which you will be able to install new apps. So some examples of apps that are being created are, for example, Task Planning tab, which is creating a way to basically give bounties to people that are working on different stuff and link those bounties to GitHub, so they are automatically given out to people that work for your project. There are also people that are working on like super cool stuff on Aragon, just for example, a decentralized space agency that aims to compete with NASA or SpaceX. And there are people that are building even like mesh networks, like Althea, who are actually building mesh networks that are powered by DAOs. And so people in places like Latin America who have a lot of internet censorship can use these mesh networks to safely communicate and access the internet. So there are a lot of possibilities. And Aragon is very wide because it enables like from the micro use cases of like one person using these tools to like give a token to someone else and then just govern like this organization with a voting app, super easy use case, to like super complex use cases, or even use cases that will be really hard to do if you have to implement everything from scratch. For example, protocol upgrades of a crypto protocol like Ethfinex, but then using an Aragon app is super easy because you get an amazing front end for free. You get also apps unboxing that I forgot to talk about. So these apps here, for example, the finance app, cannot alter the front end of Aragon. It cannot alter the voting app, for example. It cannot interfere because they are sandboxed. And plus, something that I didn't show is that all the actions, they are human readable by default, which is something that we've been working on for some time. So basically, if you create here whatever transaction, will pop up something. So for example, if we want to change the permissions, whatever this is, well actually I don't have permissions to do this. So the DAO is properly working and telling me that I cannot. I guess, do I own this app? This DAO? Yeah, I guess so. So if I want to change, for example, that to make it a voting you can assign tokens, which I think is already the case, then I should be able to do that very easily. And it gives you like a human-readable transcription of who you're trying to sign here is just that you are going to change the permissions of this app, or you're going to mint a new token, or you're going to vote yes, but it doesn't give you like a super weird hex payload, which no one understands. And that's great for developers. You just have to go to your smart contract and write this small notice here. So in this case, this function changes the issuance rate of the Nectar token per unit of trading value. And I just have to write here, change the NEC issuance rate to new value, which is this parameter here, and that will show up in the Aragon UI beautifully without your user having to know any like huge weird payload. So that's a little bit of the Aragon UI. I'm gonna come back to some slides. So the architecture is super complex. Like we built a UI framework from scratch for dApps, which handles a lot of like optimistic UI patterns, so your users don't have to wait for like 14 seconds to see like the UI changing for you. We built all this unboxing stuff, so apps cannot interfere with another app, or in general try to do any malicious thing with another app. And we also built Aragon OS, which is what empowers, is the framework for all the DAO architecture, and basically what enables, as I said before, with the code, is what enables you to build apps that are upgradable by default in the smart contracts, and they also have permission system using the auth modifier. So it's really simple to turn a normal Solidity app into a fully governed, fully interoperable, fully upgradable Aragon app. And as you see, like there's a lot of stuff here, but the product is so simple to use. Like it's really simple. I also want to go and try to create a new DAO, which is a very interesting process. So if we just go here, we can create a new DAO. And I just want to show how I see the processes. So there are multiple templates that I can create a DAO with, because this is what we call kits. And in code, this looks like this. This looks like I'm going to have, I just want to try to put some zoom into this. So this looks like, it's even like, I will say human readable. So you have like a voting app, and you create the voting app, you have a token.